Welcome to the Most Interesting Talk Show. This is a must-watch episode if you plan on buying a car anytime in the future. In this episode, we'll be talking about 10 ways to get the best deal on your next car. Ready? Let's roll. Number 1, know what kind of car you want. Find a car that meets your needs before you go to the dealership. Do price comparisons and find common problems with that car if it's been around for a little while. The reason that's important is if you go to the dealership without knowing what you want or meet your needs, it's likely and easier for the salesman to pursue you into getting a car that probably doesn't fully meet your needs or a car you don't know too much about. So let's be prepared and know what we want before we go there. Number 2, if you currently have a car, try to sell it privately before you go to the dealership. The reason for that is if you private sell it, you get more for your car. If you can't sell it, before you go to the dealership, shop around and see which dealership would give you the most for your car. Search online to see what your car is worth. The reason for that, when you go to the dealership, if you don't know the value of your car, they'll either lowball you by offering you way less than what your car is worth for, or they'll give you way more for the car, making you think that, hey, I'm getting a great deal. Let me give you an example. Let's say you have a car that trade-in value is $5,000. The dealership might offer you more, $7,000. And in your head, you're thinking, wow, I got a great deal. Now the car you're buying is worth $17,000. What they do is they would take that $17,000 and tag on the extra $2,000 and sell you the car anywhere from $19,000 to $20,000. Now you walk out of the dealership thinking that you got a great deal because they give you so much extra for your current car, but in reality, you got scammed in some ways. So by knowing what your car is truly worth before you head to the dealership is the best way to avoid that. And before you head to the car dealership, call them, whatever quote they give you, if it's acceptable to you, have them fax you a document saying, I will get a certain amount for my car and the car model and everything. Number 3, get your own finance. Find a handful of banks, go on their website, see what they're offering for new and used cars, whichever car you're getting. Get a pre-qualifying letter so you know you're definitely getting that interest rate. That's important because when you go to the dealership, they're likely to offer you a higher interest rate. Knowing that you can get a lower interest rate somewhere else, they'll see you more educated and prepared. On top of that, you can negotiate either the price of the car down or negotiate their interest rate even lower than the one you're getting at your bank. So when you do shop for banks, do local and the main banks. That's very important. Number 4, call the dealership before you head there. The reason that is important is you want to make sure you get a trade-in value in writing before you get there. You want to make sure you get the VIN number of the car and the car history. And also, you want to make sure the car you're looking for at their dealership is there in stock. The reason that is important is sometimes dealership will use a tactic that's called bait and switch. That's a tactic they want to advertise the car anywhere and with an attractive price to have you go in. Once you go in, then they'll say, I'm sorry, the car is no longer available. Let's look at the other cars, or we have this kind of car available. To avoid this technique, because it's used solely to get you in the showroom, is you need to get something in writing saying that we are offering you X amount of money for your car. The VIN number is this, the car history is this, and we have this car, that model in stock. Number 5, keep your car keys with you until you sign the papers on your new car. The reason for that is when you get there, most likely they will take your keys away so their mechanic can inspect your car to give you a fair trade-in value, even though they probably already gave you something. But now they want to physically see your car. It's important before you sit down to negotiate the price or talk about the new car after you test drive it, make sure to get your current keys, your current car keys in your hands and your purse or in your pocket. There's a huge reason for that. If you go in there, you sit down with them and you're negotiating, then you realize that I don't want this car anymore for whatever reason. You say, okay, I want my car back, my current car. Now, they're going to do everything in their power to slow you down and not give you your old car keys back so you won't leave. Now, you're currently talking to a salesman. They have a team leader. The team leader will come out. They'll play good guy, bad guy with you. He will try to convince you. If that doesn't work, then you get the floor supervisor going to come in. He's going to try to convince you. If that doesn't work, then they're going to play the waiting game with you. They'll bring somebody else. The next person that will probably come to talk to you will be the manager or the supervisor. If that doesn't work, they have a general manager that'll come out and play the good guy and ask you, what can we do to get you in that car? By then, it will be probably an hour plus. You're waiting, you're frustrating. Those two techniques are designed specifically to have you question your decision. Now, you don't have your car key, you have to wait for it. And the general manager say, okay, we'll give you your car keys back. The mechanic's just taking a last look at your car. He will drive the car in front of you. That's another period. All that time is for you to question and maybe change your mind into getting their car. So to avoid that, don't sit down as you have your car keys in your hands. Moving on. Number 6, be aware of fake stickers on cars, whether it's used or new. This happens mostly in new cars. When you go to a dealership, you see, well, there are times you see at least 2 stickers. One will be the manufacturer sticker, which is with the MSRP. That sticker will have everything listed in the car and the price. You'll see a second sticker next to the car. That would be the dealership sticker. So that sticker really has no values. The sticker you want to negotiate and look at is the manufacturer sticker, or the MSRP. The dealership sticker most likely have packages that they install at the dealership, packages that you did not ask for. They do that to make the car stands out, make it seem special. And that tricks buyers into negotiating off that price. By knowing the difference, when you sit down to negotiate, you will know what to talk about and what you want and what you do not want. Moving on. Number 7, buy your car based on the total price of the car, not the monthly payment. Usually at the dealership, they'll do everything in their power to keep you focused on the monthly payment. They'll ask you, how much can you afford per month? How much can you pay per month for this car? How can we get you in this car for X amount of money per month? Can you do a little lower or higher per month? The key word would be month, month, month. That is important to them because if you fall into that trap, you will say, I want to pay $250 per month. They'll say, oh, let's see what we can do. They'll say, okay, but they'll probably say, you know what, can you do $260 to $275, whatever. And if whether you say yes or no, they'll go back to $250. But what they would do is they'll stretch that payment. Now you're looking at a payment between 72 months and 84 months. And a 72 months to 84 months loan is not wise. Chances are your interest rate will be higher because it's a longer loan. Another thing is, by the time you're done paying that loan, your car will depreciate so much that you'll be upside down. Most people keep their cars between 3 and 4 years. And in a 72 to 84 months, you're talking about 6-7 years, and chances are you won't have that car be too old. Something will go wrong with it. Maybe things will start going bad that you feel like you need to trade it in to get something better for you and your family. It's important to you to, when you're buying, to not focus on the monthly payment. If you're buying a car, it's worth $25, $30, $40, $50,000 or $60. Focus on that payment, negotiate that payment down until you feel comfortable. Don't fall for the trap of monthly payment because it is a trick and only works against you. Before you go there, make sure you have a budget. Make sure you know whatever car I'm going to get, it will not cost X amount of money because that is what I can afford, not what monthly payment I can afford. Moving on. Number 8, if you decide to lease, it's important to know the interest rate you are paying on that lease. The same way when you're buying a car, you have to treat getting a lease the same. You have to negotiate the price of the car, the full price, not the monthly payment. Now, when you ask about the interest rate, sometimes dealers will hesitate because that's not something people ask often when they're leasing. Now, if you notice, the dealership will give you the interest rate in a decimal point. Or if they give the interest rate 5%, 2%, or 1% the regular way, what will happen is that on the contract, pay attention to this, the contract will most likely have a decimal interest rate. Let's say, for example, they offer you 2.5%, which is not bad, right? So you got 2.5%, but however, on the contract, the dealership writes 0.0025 on your contract. Now, to most people, they'll look at 2.5 and see 0.0025 and say, okay, well, that's a lower number, one. And two, it also looks like 2.5. So it's easy for somebody to miss that and just sign the paperwork. The trick, this technique is designed specifically for people who overlooked or get tricked. That's what happened. 2.5% is 2.5%. However, 0.0025 in decimals equals to 6%. So in reality, when you see that, you're paying 6% at the 2.5%. When you notice that later on after you sign the contract, you call them and say, hey, I noticed 0.0025 equals 6%. I'm overpaying. That's not what you told me. They'll say, no, you got confused. You got 0.0025 confused with 2.5%. And then they'll blame you. The trick is, whenever you go to a dealership for leasing, whatever interest rate they offer you, you need to take that decimal point and multiply it by 2,400. So that's the trick. 0.0025 times 2,400 equals 6%. Now 2.5%, if you do it backwards, what you get is 0.00104. That's the difference. So know your interest rate, do your research, and also while you're at it, make sure you know all the fees. Whether you're buying, you're leasing, you need to know all the fees that the dealership would charge you, including processing fees, title fees, handling fees, and be aware of all these little packages they try to put in your car without you knowing to hike up the price on you. Moving on. Number 9, always have all your paperwork signed, including your financial letters or approved documents signed before you leave the parking lot, before you drive with that car. This is important, and it usually happens when people have lower credit scores, and it happens intentionally too. The dealership will let somebody drive away the car without having their finances approved. They might let them stay with the car for a few days, 2 weeks. Then they'll call the person back. They'll say, hey, your finances fell through, the bank didn't approve, you need to come back in. That's done so they can pressure you into getting a loan with a higher interest rate. To avoid that, you need to make sure everything is signed, the bank approves it before you leave. Lastly, number 10, if you go to the dealership to buy a car, it's being delivered to you for whatever reason, don't sign the paperwork until that car is delivered to you. You can give them your information to pre-qualify you, make sure you can afford it and all that good stuff, but don't sign the final paperwork, the final paperwork. If you do so, once it's signed, the dealership is no longer obligated to put you first, put your needs and your car first to get it there on time. What happens often is people wait days and weeks for the car to be delivered and it's not there on time. And when your car gets there, don't just sign the paperwork because you're so excited you got there. Do an inspection, make sure everything's in there as written on the contract, and then sign it. Now, if you can follow all these 10 steps, you get the best possible deal on your next car. If you like this show, you like what's being discussed here, and if you find or know anyone who's buying a car in the near future, share this video with them. They will appreciate it because there are things that people simply are not aware of or forgotten. There's a good reminder. Also, subscribe to this channel. It's a community-based show. Your support is important. Thank you for watching.